Welcome to Metal Detecting Wisconsin 2024. It's my 14th season on YouTube. I want to thank all my loyal subscribers. I can't believe it's been that many years already. But what I have here is a new shaft for my XP Deus II from Steve's Detecting Rods. So we're going to open up the box here and see what we got inside. I really liked my shaft on my Nokta that he made for me, so he does some real high quality work. So I ended up getting 2 or 3 lower shafts, so I have a lower shaft for all 3 of my coils, and I had them customized. I had this customized to the specs that I wanted. He makes this whole setup for a tall person, and I wanted mine to be pretty close to the same specs as the standard shaft so that I could get it in my travel bag. So basically what I had to have them do was the middle, what they consider the middle shaft, which I'll show you here in a second. Man, this thing is nice. Did a nice job wrapping and protecting it. So this shaft here, which is considered the middle shaft, I had him shorten that so that it would, when it collapses, it's the same size as the standard Deus II shaft. And then he had to shorten my lower shaft to the same length as the lower shafts. And the reason he makes it a little bit longer than the standard is to accommodate people that are tall. Well, I have no issues with the size of the standard shaft. I'm about 5'10", somewhere in there, so I have plenty of room. And I actually, with the modifications he did for me for this, I still have an extra like 4 inches of length that I can stretch it out if I wanted to. So a couple of the things I did, I had the holes drilled in my shafts so that I can run the cable through I think there's a hole there, and I think there's another hole on the middle shaft here. Yep, right there. So then I can run the cable when I do water hunting. I can run the cable up through the shaft. That was the modifications that I wanted, along with the plug on the end here, the threaded end for the counterweight. So the counterweight that goes on here is the exact same counterweight that I have for the shaft for my Equinox 800. So just threaded on the end so I can put that counterweight in. I thought maybe I might use it when I'm using the large coil to balance it out a little bit. The 11 by 13 coil. Well, it's got the just sends a little Allen wrench for to put the arm cuff on. There's the arm cuff. Very, very nice. Somebody in another video said this is like a work of art, and he wasn't kidding. This thing is beautiful. So that's it. I got, let's see, there's another lower shaft in here, or actually there's the other lower shaft still wrapped up. Well, I thought I had an extra lower shaft, but I guess I don't. Thought I had 3 lower shafts. I only see 2. Okay, well, I'm gonna turn the camera off and we'll get this thing put together and weigh it compare the weight and compare the dimensions and talk a little bit more about it. Here it is all put together. So you want to compare the two. I wanted to, with them custom measurements, I wanted it to be fairly close to the standard one when it's folded up, and it's very close. The only thing I didn't take into consideration was the added height of it, because this stand is much better, much higher, so that's a little thing I didn't really consider, but there's another option for this that's easy to get it into my suitcase, and I'll show you how I fit that in there once I talk a little bit more about these custom features or dimensions that I did. So this lower part right here, I had to make that from here to here 14.5 inches. And the reason is because I think he had a couple more inches on here, but I didn't really need that. The arm cuff is just where I want it. It's actually farther back than the standard one. It's just maybe a couple inches past my elbow, but if you got a really long forearm, you might want the longer version of this, what I think is just called the rear rod. So in the middle rod, from the mount for the control unit all the way to the end of this coupling right here, I had him do it to 21.5 inches. And then I had my lower shafts also cut to 21.5 inches. So that makes it pretty close to the standard one once it's all folded up. So as far as weight goes, we'll turn on the scale here and I'll show you the weights. So first we'll do the Steve's detecting lower rod. Get it to balance on here. So 59.3 grams. And then the standard lower rod, 77.2. So you're gaining a little bit with the Steve's detecting rod. I think it's probably about 18 grams difference. So we'll do the Steve's detecting upper and middle shafts and the arm cuff and everything. And I'm doing it on the corner of my table here, so it's the only way I could get it to balance on this scale was to do it like this. So we got about 440, a little short of 440 grams total. And now the standard shaft, I did measure this already without my stand that I added to this, and it was 395 grams. So it is less when you just go with the standard, but I added this. This is the Nokta. Here, we'll get this open. This is the Nokta stand that goes for the Nokta detectors, and I added that to this machine to just get it up off the ground a little better. And it's this design here is terrible. The machine tips over all the time. It doesn't even sit flat or nothing, so I added this. So with this stand that I normally have on here, we'll do the same thing here. We'll weigh this. 443 grams, so this is actually a little bit heavier, so probably about maybe 20 grams total less with the new Steve's detecting shaft. So I'll put this together and we'll talk a little bit more about it. If you want any of these dimensions, I can send them to you. I guess I could just put it in the description too, what I did do as far as measurement wise. Before I put it together, I wanted to show you what I'm talking about when I put it in my... So this is the standard size carry-on small luggage that you can bring onto any airline. So you can see the standard shaft. That's how I normally would put that in there, and then all the coils and headphones and everything else would go in there with it. So I'll show you how this new one will fit in there. I wanted it to fit in there just like that, but it's not going to because it's a little too tall. So what you can do with this, which is really nice, so if you release, well actually I'll do this first. So this mount that he has on here just screws on. And it's a real nice long solid thread that he has on this. So I don't think there's much of a chance of breaking that off. And then he has a metal insert in here. So that was a really good idea. So this is pretty solid when it's together. So what you can do here is just release your lock there, and you can pull this completely off. And if you take all the pieces, you can actually screw that back on the end if you want, but you don't really have to do that. So it'll go in like that. Then you can just stick your rods in there. Well, you know what I mean. I can get them in there. So that's that. So it does fit in there like that, which is kind of nice. So we'll get this thing together. One thing I did want to mention, at the beginning of the video when I was unboxing, I was supposed to get 3 lower rods. And Steve had made a mistake, so I emailed him, and he emailed me right back and told me he would send me a new rod, or another lower rod that I did paid for already. So just can't say enough good things about him. His communication is awesome. He's a super nice guy, willing to work with you, whatever you want done. If you want customized, like I did, it was a pretty seamless process. So I'd highly recommend using him if you're looking for a shaft like this. This is high-end shaft. And what the nice thing about it is, I'll show you after I get this thing together a few other nice features. So before I move on, this is everything that I have for the Deus II now. I have all 3 of the coils. I have the backbones, the XL headphones, the pin pointer, so the puck that comes with the backbones, and then the main controller. And I did buy the mount for this. So I'll get these put together and we'll do a little more comparison. So I have the Steve's detecting rod all put together. You can see what it looks like there. Got the 9-inch coil on this one. And now I'm able to use my puck with that mount on my standard shaft. I have that one paired up with the 11-inch. So when I turn on the puck, my XL headphones will pair up with the puck, and the 11-inch coil will pair up with the puck. So I basically have a Deus Lite is what I have. So that'll be my backup. And the one with the Steve's detecting rod, that'll be my main unit. And I can easily switch out the coils. I just have to change the rod now with the 11-inch, but I'm going to keep I use the 9-inch and the 11 by 13 most, so I'm going to keep the Steve's detecting rod lower shaft on that one, and the other shaft on my 11-inch. So a couple of the features well, first of all, the stand is 10 times better than the standard one. That's why I have the Nokta stand on there. The other thing is the arm cup is much more solid. It has a big wide strap that comes with it, and nice padding, and it's really long. So those cold days when you're really bulked up, you can get your arm in and out of this one, or adjust it to the size of the coat that you're wearing or whatever else you're wearing. This one doesn't adjust very long, and it's all wore out too. So anyway, it's not quite as good. So he has a mount on the back for your control unit that has that lock on it. Pretty similar to the detecting doodads one, which I did have on my standard shaft. But the other day when I was cleaning it, it snapped off. So that didn't last. But it was really really nice having it be able to lock on. But I also, as a backup, I had my little lanyard here that comes with the Deus II. I had that mounted on in this hole here and onto my control unit, just in case something did happen, like what happened with the Doodads one or the standard one where they break. You don't have to worry about losing your head. So I did the same thing. I just put it on the screw that is part of this clamp. So never be too cautious. You don't want to lose that control unit. That thing's worth way too much money, especially if you're water hunting. So the other thing is these cam locks are 10 times better than what they have on the standard one. My issue that I was having with the standard one is this one for mine anyway is not very tight. So any little pressure pushing down on the coil, my rod would keep riding up into the middle shaft, and then I'd have to readjust it. So it was kind of a pain in the butt, but I mean, not that great big of a deal. And I couldn't figure out any way to tighten this up so that it would stay in place. Anyway, that's I guess all else I have to say about it. But like I said, it's not cheap, but now I have basically a Deus Lite and the XP Deus II. So I have two machines pretty much right now. And when I travel, I'll be able to get both of those in that travel pouch, one on each side, and all three of the coils, my headphones, and a few other things that I need in there. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please leave them. And thanks again for subscribing to my channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Sorry I didn't put out as many videos this past season, but I just was so very busy, had a lot of things going on with family, and just never really, just every time I got out, I just wanted to detect. I didn't feel like making videos, but I'll try to get more videos put together this next season. So thanks again for watching. Well, I had it out for about an 8-hour hunt with the new shaft, and I absolutely love the shaft. I like that the arm cuff is back a little bit farther. Makes it a little more comfortable. I like the wider strap around the arm. And it feels much more solid. There's no like wobble at all on the coil. I'm sure in the water it's going to make a huge difference when I'm hunting in the water. But so I did make one slight modification after I had that hunt. Some people were saying that with this type of lock, and I know you can make these really tight, that the coil would, or the round rod would slide or turn in the upper shaft. Plus there's no markings on here to show you exactly where the optimum setting is for your height, like there is on the standard. So what I did is I added a button. These are like called tent pole buttons. This is 6mm. It's basically I had to get my shaft exactly where I want it, and then I had to drill a hole and then put the button in the inside shaft or the lower shaft. So now it's locked in. It's not going to turn inside the shaft while you're using it. It's going to keep it from doing that. But the more important thing is, for me anyway, it locks it into the exact same height that I want it. So I did that to 2 of the shafts, and one of the shafts I'm keeping without that button in, because it's going to be a little harder to run the wire through there with that button, even though you can take that button in and out pretty easily. And I can still adjust it to whatever height I want. Just got to push the button in and move the shaft around. Or if I want to rotate it so that the head unit is angled more towards me, but I don't really care to do that, but I know some people do. I added my sticker to Metal Detecting Wisconsin. So overall, that first hunt, I'm very happy with the shaft. Glad I spent the money on it. Anybody has any questions, leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer them. If you want to know how to do that button with a little more detail, I can maybe do a video on that if somebody would want to see that. So thanks for watching.